What's up, everyone?
What's up, everyone? Hello, everyone. Hey, guys. Welcome to today's video. I'm Daniel.
I'm here in Iowa,
Gold Coast Casino.
I'm ready to give you guys another vlog.
Hello, everybody. It is Daniel, aka Floppy Penguin here, and I am bringing you a video today as an update video on the hardness report that was put out by the PBA a couple of days ago. And so now we officially have a statement from Brunswick Bowling Products regarding this, and I wanted to bring you guys an update. So if you have not seen my prior video explaining the whole hardness issue and what the PBA has chosen to do about it, raising the hardness level from 73 to 78. Please check that out at the corner of your screen right now. There will be a little card, and check that out at that link. So with that said, for those that have watched that video, let's kind of dig into this letter from Brunswick. So Brunswick sent this letter to their staffers. I have that confirmed from 2 staffers that let me know that they actually did receive this in an email on the 27th, which was the same day that the hardness rule was released. The new hardness rule from the PBA was released. So with that said, let's kind of dive into what it says. So the subject is the PBA bowling ball rule changes. So pretty clear what they're going for here. To our friends in the bowling community, in response to the PBA's recently announced bowling ball rule changes from the 2024 season, Brunswick has shared feedback and confirmed our commitment to compliance with the PBA, which is good. They're going to comply. However, we must communicate to the bowling community that we believe the PBA rule changes relating to urethane balls unnecessarily target some of the most popular performance balls on the market today. They're talking about the Purple Hammer. To the best of our knowledge, there has never been a type of ball that was so good and so popular that rules were created to ban it, even though the balls have maintained USBC approval and currently meet all ball specifications as required by the USBC. So one thing I want to point out here is that they might not necessarily be correct in saying that. Although, yes, they would like them to maintain USBC approval. As we saw with several Purple Hammers that were tested right out of the box without any holes in them, they read below 73 hardness on the PBA truck in that report. Now here is the part in the report that I was referring to just now. With the hardness, there were ones that were below 73 hardness. In fact, the only one that had an average above 73 hardness was the new out-of-box, unused and uncleaned January 2023 Purple Hammer. Now, once they cleaned it with IPA, it was 72.7, so still within the 2 points that they give themselves for variance. But then the second that they wiped it with absolute control, which is a version of oil, the second they wiped it with oil, 69.7. That shows that the second that oil gets on the surface of the urethane bowling ball, it drops the average hardness. And then once they used the oil and cleaned it with IPA, and of course some oil is still going to be present just below the surface because whenever you clean a ball it doesn't 100% remove it. It was 69.8 on average. And then they applied oil in the indenter, tested, cleaned, and unoiled portion of the ball, and it was 71.9, so still below 73. So their claims might not necessarily be the most accurate here. If we scroll up a little bit and look at some field tests of these Purple Hammers, if we see, ones that have gone down the lane a few times, I mean, Purple Hammers all throughout this report, as I went over in my previous video, all throughout this report we're seeing Purple Hammers that are below 73 hardness. So although I would love to stand behind Brunswick at this point, I just do not see that their claims are necessarily justified with the research and data that is given to us by the PBA. Now, if we continue on in Brunswick's statement here, we do not agree with the PBA's decision to set unique and separate hardness specifications for urethane balls based on the stated conclusions that urethane balls get softer with use. In fact, our testing has shown that a significant portion of the change in hardness measurement once a urethane ball has been used can be directly attributed to lubrication of the Rex gauge durometer indenter by lane oil and moisture. So that's an interesting statement because the PBA is claiming that they did this test with a controlled durometer that was, measuring all of these different balls. And Brunswick says here, we believe this change in hardness measurement is due to how the unique polymer structures of some of the urethane balls retain lane oil and moisture on or just below the ball's surface for several days, resulting in lower hardness values, a phenomenon that is much different from reactive balls that quickly absorb and redistribute lane oil and moisture throughout the pore structure. So let's get one thing straight here. They are admitting that their distinction between urethane and reactive balls, the PBA's distinction, is good, which is solid, because we see here that they're admitting that the urethane balls don't absorb oil, which is obvious. So now that we have that in place, then we see now that they are saying that because the urethane balls do not absorb any oil, it allows that oil to get on the durometer, causes it to change the measurement in hardness and measure softer than it truly is. Now, let's look at the next paragraph really quickly before we dive in. It is very important to note that these rule changes only apply to PBA National Tour, PBA Regional Tour, PBA 50 Plus Tour, and PBA Youth Tour events. Bowlers can continue to use and enjoy unique performance offered by popular urethane bowling balls in USBC and PBA LBC leagues and tournaments. Further, the Brunswick Research and Development Team remains committed to innovating bowling ball technologies that will provide performance improvements, more strikes, higher scores, and enhanced enjoyment for bowlers of all skill levels. One big thing that I want to point out there is, this is something similar to how Storm approached the situation with the 6 balls that got banned last March. And so be sure and check out my video on that too if you'd like to. I'll link that as well in the corner of your screen right now. But the big thing is, they weren't in agreement with that decision either. But that was USBC posting and quickly, turning them into victimizing them, basically, quickly victimizing them, whereas there was not much research to back that up, or USBC didn't even release any research before they made their decision. In fact, all of the consumers were left completely in the dark on what was even going on. And so this is the opposite way around. The PBA was very transparent, very forward, and very front-facing with all of their information and data that was provided, and went, coincided with the rule change at the same time. So now we're seeing, okay, we have the data and the rule change, and this is Brunswick's response to it. Whereas in March of last year, we saw that Storm got victimized by USBC without any data being shown, and it took a month at least, if not longer, for any form of data to be proven or shown by USBC. And at that, it wasn't nearly as conclusive, in my opinion, as this is from the PBA. So we see that, and obviously, no bowling ball manufacturer wants to, have their specifications changed completely on ruling, but this is something that they have said that they are going to comply with in the first paragraph. So let's read the last paragraph. Brunswick continues to stand for protecting the integrity of the sport of bowling, and as an advocate for all bowlers, we will continue to communicate with league and tournament bowling organizations and make recommendations to prevent needless rules/regulations and unnecessary confusion within the bowling community. Well, one big thing to remember is, bowling has been very confusing for a decent amount of time now, especially with, as I just referenced, the USBC's decision to the national tournament exclusion rule with the altered reality and the electrify solid, the UFO alert and trend 2, and the Wolverine. And those balls were taken out of play at only some tournaments, but you can still use them in leagues and other tournaments. And I mean, that's just ridiculous, for ambiguity's sake. So that I understand if you want to call that, unnecessary or needless rules and regulations and unnecessary confusion. I absolutely will stand behind that. But in this case, I don't think that this is a needless rule or regulation and unnecessary. And the reason that I say that is simply because we have the report from the PBA that was pretty clear. This is what they need to do in order to uphold the integrity of the sport. And so, if you look at it from that perspective and understand that these players are just trying to compete at the fairest and utmost highest level that they can, then why stop them as a bowling ball manufacturer? Wouldn't you want your competitors, your staff members, to have the best opportunity, but also the fairest opportunity, instead of, admitting that something is wrong and working to improve it? Instead of doing that, trying to bash the PBA for being clear and transparent about a rule change that they deem necessary. I'm not sure if that's maybe the right thing to do, but who am I to judge? With all of that said, there's one last part of the report I'd like to mention. Their procedure that's in the report, this is in the PBA's report, you can check it out at the link in the description. And in this report, Part B it says the Rex Type D durometer indenter shall be wiped clean with isopropyl alcohol prior to testing each ball. So Brunswick was claiming that the oil left on the durometer, because it was underneath the surface of the bowling ball, would cause the ball to read softer than it truly is. Well, if you read Part C here, no alterations to the ball surface may be conducted prior to presenting the ball for testing. The ball may be wiped clean with a dry towel by the player. The individual conducting the test with the player present and giving consent will clean the entire surface of the ball with isopropyl alcohol prior to testing. So that alcohol should at least help in getting rid of some of that and drawing out of some of that oil. Although, of course, it's not perfect. I don't think it would be perfect in any world. But I think that that is the most important thing that you can look at in regards to what Brunswick said. Because here, the PBA is clearly stating their procedure for testing each ball. And they have the player present during these tests. And so I'd like to see some of the players' perspectives on what is going on with these tests and understanding the importance behind them and their procedure. The importance of this procedure is clear because we see that they are trying to do this at the fairest and in the most standardized way that they can, so that the players have the best chance of having a true reading and a true average hardness of their bowling ball, no matter which ball that it is. So remember, guys, if you're just a league bowler out there, go back to your league. If you want to throw a urethane ball, although it might not be the best option on a house shot, but you can still throw it. This rule doesn't directly affect you. It does not directly affect me because I'm not a professional bowler. But as a pro shop operator, these are things that I must keep in mind daily in my job to understand and work with all types of customers that this could affect, especially in the future, depending on where USBC decides to go with this. But I want to know your thoughts on Brunswick's response. Leave a comment down below. Be sure to leave a like and hit subscribe as well, because upcoming I've got some vlogs from Vegas and Reno that are going to be coming out, soon in July, because I'm about to leave in the next week to go to Vegas, bowl the Tat, and then drive up to Reno and bowl Nationals. So guys, leave a like and subscribe and leave a comment with your thoughts, and I'll see you next time.